be honest, I did have one cigarette. But I'm proud of myself. You know, I'm back on the gum after that cigarette. I'll be honest, after quitting even for 2 days, while I did like that cigarette in the sense that, I was addicted to it, I'm able to recognize that I liked it because I'm addicted to it, right? And if I was honest with myself, I was able to admit the taste also was really bad, like really bad. Bad, 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 bad. So I'm happy that I did that in the sense that, okay, now I can convince myself, I have more ammunition to convince myself that I can resist this temptation. I can resist and beat this addiction. And I'll keep trying and keep trying and keep trying. And obviously, do not buy smoke. Do not try to avoid, if there's a group of smokers, try to avoid them until I can get more comfortable. That's what, in retrospect, possibly I should have done, but I hadn't. But all things considered, one cigarette is not the end of it. It's just that, okay, I had a bump in the road, and let's continue towards the goal. And that's what it is. So, back on the gum. So, hopefully, the gum will do it. The gum will do it. So, today I want to talk to you guys about something that I really, really, really enjoy. And that's archaeology, but it's specific archaeology. While I love the fact that, they find some of the towns that were in the Bible, they are able to find some of the stuff that's discussed there. They're able to find old cultural artifacts. They're able to date all those things. And that's really cool that they can do that. But the part that really fascinates me about history and archaeology is the items of great power. And what I mean by that is, for example, well, I'm sure everyone has heard of the Ark of the Covenant. It's a very, 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 very famous artifact. The Israelites used it to reclaim a lot of the Holy Land, and, well, not reclaim, but claim, I guess, in the first place. There's countless legends. There's stuff as recent as the Indiana Jones. There's movies. There's a series, the Real Templars, I believe, from 2006, and there's Dan Brown conspiracies, and so many conspiracies. And what they say that it looks like, well, they have a replica in the George Washington Masonic National Memorial. And it looks like this. So, I'd like to talk a little bit about its origins and a little bit more about it, and to go in, is it truth? Is it fact? Is it fiction? What is it? So, for those that are familiar with the legend, the Ark of the Covenant is basically supposed to be the seat of God, literal seat of God, as in his actual throne. And it's supposed to give the power to the Israelites. The Israelites worship this, and what they did is when they would do a blood offering, they would put the blood offering onto the ark, and that would apparently power it up, what the legend goes. So, of course, it was stored in the Holy of Holies. It was in the first temple. There's a lot of legends about it in the movies. This is what they used to be able to conquer a lot of the Promised Land. Now, it eventually disappeared from history, from public view of history. I'll let you guys look up how exactly, because I think that's a very good thing to go and do. And look it up yourself. It's in the Bible. You can find most of that information directly in it. If you're not sure where to go, come talk to me after the show. We'll talk about it. But what I want to get specifically is about there's legends that say that it got found. Now, there's a few places. There's a church in Ethiopia, in Axum to be exact, that claims to have the Ark of the Covenant. They claim that it did a fantastic journey, that they took it from the first temple, they saved it, or stole it, depending on who you ask, and that it went to Egypt, went down to a giant lake temple for 400 years, and then made its way to Axum and be held there by the patriarchs of the Church of Ethiopia. And in 2009, they planned to unveil it, but the very next day completely did a 180 and said, nope, he's not revealing it, but he can confirm it does exist, and we have to take him at its word. Now, there's a lot of conspiracy theorists around there. There's some people that say that they went in, they snuck in without being detected and found that it was nothing but a replica. Others snuck in and say that their accomplices went to touch it and got disintegrated, which does fit the legends about it, by the way. They say that if anyone touches this, other than the chosen, they get disintegrated. The power god just zaps. And some people are saying that that's what happened. There's police reports of those people missing, so it's possible. But, you hear conspiracies like that. Other conspiracy says that there's nothing there. Other conspiracies say that it was there, but a secret brotherhood stole it. And that's why in 2009, the patriarch said that, oh, no, we can't unveil it anymore. There's lots of conspiracies about it. So I really urge you guys to look into that. Now, because it's a conspiracy, it's not necessarily going to be true. It's not necessarily going to be false. I don't have the answer to that. I wish I did, but I don't think anyone does. But what really interests me is to look into there and let my imagination roam. And what do I think is real? What do I think is not real? What do I think is evidence? What do I think is not evidence? Stuff like that. And that fascinates me. Really fascinates me. So that's one of the legends. There's another legend that says that, it got taken by the Templar Knights, that it was a great secret that the Templar Knights got was the Ark of the Covenant. And in great secret, and at great cost of their lives, they brought it back to, the legend says England. So it got brought to England. There's been also some changes to that some are saying that it got sent to the U.S. by the Masons. And the legends about, the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill in the U.S. and stuff like that. I'm sure a lot of people have seen it. There's also a Nicolas Cage movie about it that talks about it. But before that movie, while it doesn't really follow the actual legend, because that's a modification that Disney made for the Nicolas Cage movie, which is fantastic, by the way. National Treasures 1 and 2, highly recommend. I'm looking forward to number 3. But that's not the real legend what it was. The real legend was part of what they said, but it got modified for the movie. Once again, I encourage you guys, go check it out. Great place, you can start. Check the Wikipedia on the Ark of the Covenant. It has a few of the theories, has a few of the stuff there. There's other rumors that say that it got moved to underneath the mount where Moses received the commandments. That it got moved to a secret cave there, and there it's waiting for the return of God on earth, basically, I guess. I don't know. They're not very clear on what it is exactly they're waiting for. The other legend, there's one by Ron Wyatt. And this goes that, he was in Jerusalem touring, all the areas that had to do with Christianity, where Jesus went, where the different apostles went, the different routes, viewing the stuff like that. And he didn't agree where the common, at the era, that Mount Golgotha, where Mount Calvary, so Golgotha, and then on top is Mount Calvary, um, where Jesus got crucified, right? He didn't agree with that because it was supposed to be in the city of David. The area that they put right now is in the northwest of Jerusalem, and there's no evidence that there was enough transportation for it to be a highway of sorts or anything. He felt that it wasn't visible enough, and the Romans, when they crucified to put, and they put it on display on a commonly traveled road, so the travelers would all see this, and it would serve as a warning. Because when they did this, it wasn't punishment to the individual, it was a warning to the rest of the world, the rest of the population, that if they don't behave, this is what's going to happen. So, what they're saying as the common era, it makes sense. It really do. Give me a second. There. So he went and he found a location that was closer to where the city of David should have been, based on where the old temple is, because we know where that mount is and all of that. There he found an old well, and he found other evidence of where things could be, and that's where he found a better location for Golgotha. And when you went to travel, and he traveled, he recorded his journey, recorded it with a video camera and all of that. And when he checked with all of that, he found an opening, and he dug underneath it. And that's where he went, and he says he found the Ark of the Covenant. Now here's the way that the legend goes. Since we know that the Ark of the Covenant is used to put the blood offering, and that God accepts it, and that's what powers it. Well, the idea is that Ark never left, and it was in fact buried underneath in that cave, which had other artifacts and other stuff of the type. So after that, what happened is he went searching more, and he found a fissure in the ground, and fissure went up. And when he went upstairs, he arrived to got out of the cave and went to the top. That's where he found that big hill, and it fit for the description of Golgotha, Calvary. Underneath, he found evidence that thousands of years ago there was a highway here, and it made sense map-wise. If you look at the map, that's still used as an old pilgrim route that's huge. Like at the time, it was a highway, a Roman highway, which if they would have put it anywhere, they would have put it on the main highway, which was right there. And there was indents in the rocks of showing where the signage would have been put, and everything would have been put. On top over there, they found also the fissure going from where the cross would have been. The fissure that was in the cave. So, and then he dropped stuff, and he found that fissure went straight down, straight to where the Ark of the Covenant. So the idea that he came out with theory is that when Jesus got crucified and there was an earthquake, what was actually happening was that fissure that was going from underneath him all the way to the Ark of the Covenant. And when the soldier put his spear in him, jabbed that spear right in his side, blood leaked out. Blood leaked down the fissure all the way down and landed on the Ark of the Covenant. So his theory is that, again, the world made an offering. The offering of the blood of Jesus Christ. Directly. And That's incredible. That to me makes lots of sense. It fits the description of the Bible of what the Ark of the Covenant was for. It describes the power of the blood of Jesus Christ. It describes how his blood atoned for us, was given as an offering. In this case, literal, if this is true. So yeah, it fits. Why did the earthquake happen? Well, that would be a very good reason for it happening. Is it possible that the ark never left and got buried in those cases? Absolutely. They do talk about it in the Bible that they would often hide the valuables like this when they knew that there was sieges and stuff like that, that they would go hide the stuff. And usually nearby, and it was all in the caves nearby. I mean, everyone has heard of the Dead Sea Scrolls, and that's basically caves as well that got found with old manuscripts, thousands and thousands of manuscripts, not just on the Bible, by the way, not just on the Bible, on lots of other stuff that helped them out throughout history, understand. So it does fit. It fits everything that I know. But is it truth? Is it fiction? I mean, Israel is saying there's no such thing, but of this discovery that it's not true. But I'll be honest with you guys. If it was true, they'd absolutely deny it. So their denial, I don't believe that it's confirming or denying what it is, because either way, that's what they would have said. They wouldn't have said that it's truth either way, because they wouldn't want this to get known. Absolutely can't get known. So, what do you guys think is the best theory? The Church of Ethiopia, possibly here, maybe in the U.S., maybe in Britain, and there's a lot of others. To me, it fascinates me to think about what those legends are, and I'm sure everyone has different opinions of which legend has better chances. I honestly don't think that we're going to find the answer, because the official answer, because really it's supposed to be the seed of God, whence we know in the Bible that it's going to come back. We already know at end times God is, or Jesus, or the amalgamation is going to become one, become physical, rule the land, and sit directly on their throne inside Israel. So obviously the throne is going to come back. We know that this is the throne through history and through the beliefs of the Israelites, and through the Bible, and through all of that. So is this going to happen? Is it going to happen in 1,000,000 years? Is it going to happen 1,000 years? Is it going to happen in 2 years? Is it going to happen in 10 minutes? God knows. Literally, God knows. No man knows. And it's clear in the Bible, and no man knows. God knows. Man can suspect. Man can't know. So all those theories are all possible. Now here's the thing that I absolutely love about archaeology and old legends, and especially when it comes to the Bible, is there's so many legends. There's not just the Ark of the Covenant. There is hundreds and hundreds of artifacts of the type. There's hundreds and hundreds of things that are super interesting to me, like finding out on the digs, like just finding the dig of, where's Golgotha. There's tons of legends and tons of theories about that, just about where all the different mounts are, of where the different stuff is. There's so many theories, and there's so many evidence that's leading in different directions. So much evidence is being misinterpreted to lead to different conclusions that sometimes are completely wrong. And it fascinates me. Like, for example, some people are saying that the Ark of Noah's Ark, got found, and it's very possible as well. There's a lot of legends around it. There's an actual location. There's a replica that's being made, and lots of other stuff. And I find that completely fascinating. But it brought me to ask one really overarching belief. Like, I believe strongly that they're looking for the truth, right? They're all looking for this. They all have evidence of the. They're they accepted a fact that I don't think I had realized till a few years ago. I had accepted that God existed. I accepted that the Bible was truth, and that we're just human beings trying to discover more of it. Even the archaeologists, a lot of them, like what happens is they end up admitting at finding sometimes 20, 30 years later in their career of going, wait, I didn't believe this was true all this time. Why did I devote so much of my time researching this? Oh, I just didn't want to admit it to myself that I believed it was true. Because that's what it comes down to. Is if these stories are true, what do we believe they're coming from? Do we believe that it's the truth? Do we believe it's just a myth? Do we believe that it's just old old civilizations trying to explain the unexplainable? There's many theories, but the thing is most of the people, they tend to go towards the truth, and they tend to go find their truth and making peace with everything. And then they usually go and decide what's best for them. A lot of them, their beliefs change at that point. But it takes that real belief of realizing what exactly is happening. And for me, the more and more that I'd find proof of these things happening, of so many archaeologists going and researching, of a lot of stuff being found, because a lot of stuff has been found. A lot of stuff has been found that it's fact. It is, you can touch it, you can see it, you found all the evidence. We know it's true, we have it in front of us, we know it happened. What more do we need, right? So where do we go from there? And for me, I wanted to dig deeper and deeper, and that's why I'm constantly looking at stuff like that. And a lot of the stuff that I'm looking at is I'm listening to all those theories, but I'm keeping my mind open. I'm not deciding, oh no, this is wrong, oh no, this is right. I'm just approaching every situation and trying my best to hear what they're saying and trying to think of, how would this work? Like, if this happened this way, what would have happened? What would have been the consequence? How likely is this of having happened? And all those big questions. In the end, I absolutely love it. I love it. And my favorite thing is to watch movies about legends. I have stuff like, for me, when I see objects like this, I can't help but wonder, how was it when they were carrying this? When they were conquering? How did it work? I mean, was this really, as some legends say, that it was some discs inside that would grab all the static electricity of around the area? And then the wings and the cherub would be used to basically unleash a static electricity of like a nuclear bomb going off, basically, using that static electricity. Or is it something else? Is it the seed of God? Is it a mysterious alien force, like some people are saying? What is it? And all the legends of, did they make multiple versions of this? Is there only one? Is it unique? Is it hidden? Was it destroyed? Was it made out of a wood that decayed by now? What's happening about it? And that just fascinates me. And I'm hoping that I'm not the only one that finds it fascinating, because the reality is this is incredible. I don't think any of us are going to get the answer to all our questions in our lifetime. But this is such an important question, an important, not really question, but an important discovery, if we can discover these items. If we can understand them. Because I strongly believe that God created the world, created the natural world. So, how would he do his miracles? Well, he created the world. That was his miracle. And his miracles are going to be going through his creation. So, they're going to be natural events that happen. For example, the Israelites escaped from Egypt. Moses, the Exodus, right? Looking in the desert, looking for water, can't find water, they're thirsty. God tells them, you know what, just bring your staff, go over here and hit this rock and you shall get water. Well, at the traditional site, they haven't found really evidence of this. They say, okay, well, we found rocks, we think they crossed over there, and this works. But there's also another crossing location that's possible. And this other crossing has a known that every 70 years the water parts. Natural phenomenon. Natural phenomenon. And if you would have continued with using the navigation that's in the Bible of where the Israelites would went, they would have arrived close to a volcanic area in the Arabian Peninsula, basically. Now, I don't know about you guys, but a volcano, when it's erupting, that can be seen from hundreds of miles away. And that would be described as, if it's erupted, I'm just going to take a wild guess here, as a pillar of fire. Didn't we hear in Exodus about a pillar of fire that the Israelites followed? Wouldn't we find evidence that those volcanoes exploded about that? I mean, that would be pretty fantastic, right? That would definitely work within the theory that God does miracles, are natural miracles. They work through the natural world. Now, even stranger. In that area where there is that volcano, and yes, they did find that the volcanoes erupted in that area. If you move you account for moving the era about 1,000 years back or forward. I don't remember. Sorry about that. Please look it up. It's really interesting. It would match of when there was a population exodus. It would match of when there was an Israelite encampment, because that 1,000 years didn't account for that encampment. That encampment had 1,000 year difference they couldn't account to. But if they moved it 1,000 years, all those signs fit. At that point, that's when there would have been the seas parting. That's when there would have been the huge Israelite encampment. That's when there would have been the famine. That's when they would have moved. There was a max exodus of the population, huge amount of the population that died from Egypt. Trade got significantly affected for the 40, 50 years after that, because there was a massive amount of death, massive amounts of people. So obviously, that's going to affect trade. But that's not in the Bible that it would affect the trade. They didn't mention that part. They mentioned they left. But we're going on what would happen when a good portion of the population leaves, and the population that's left, the firstborn of every family is dead, and there's tons of other problems. Well, it would affect the 30, 40 years of about one or two generations of trade, of the country getting back, and that fit. Now, here's the real part that really was the kicker for me, is in that area where they believe that the Israelite might have went, that doesn't fit the traditional view. There's also a type of rock there that if there's pressure, light pressure put on it, it releases water. Now, here's the interesting part. It's normal drinkable water that the rocks, basically the volcanic rocks, absorb it, clean it out of the salt, absorb the salt, and release just the water. So it's drinkable water for us. Everywhere else in that area is salt water. That's the only place you could get actual drinkable water. The other area where they were, the traditional area, there's lots of water everywhere. I mean, they would have had to been blind not to see the water everywhere. But if they would have went towards the volcanic area, there was absolutely no water anywhere nearby. It would have absolutely been a problem. And it was absolutely a problem in the Bible. Until he hit that rock and it released that water. And still today, that area is salt water everywhere. It's not drinkable water. There's water sources at places, but they're not drinkable water. They're salted water. C2 is permeating the ground and all of that. You can only find that drinkable water in those rocks. That's incredible. That's what I like about the Bible so much, is discovering those things. And really, what you're using to discover those things is you're using the Bible itself, and you're accepting it as truth. If you don't accept it as truth, well, that's when you get locations that there's water everywhere, and that the crossing would have been that big of a problem, and there's no chariots or horses stuck under the water when a whole army would have been flooded when the Exodus, the water closed. They didn't find that evidence. But they did find it if you got a southern area, that area that I spoke about. Because that's where they found evidence of chariots. They found evidence of an Egyptian water being flooded in. And it makes sense. I mean, if you know every 70 years it opens up, well, eventually, an army would have been passing thinking they're good, they're good, they're good. Oh, nope. The sea comes back down. And that's exactly what you find in the Bible. That's exactly what you find in that location. But the economic world is up in arms discussing it. And a lot of the people that are saying that that's not the true, they're not saying that that's not true. They're saying that the Bible story isn't true, and they're not weighing the evidence. They're not talking about the evidence. They're talking about the Bible, which is a problem. They're not discussing what is actually being discussed. They're discussing what they think they want to discuss, which is not what everyone else is discussing. So it doesn't go anywhere. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about, and hopefully we'll get to talk about this some more in the future. But I'd like to go back now to the normal show, which is the game show. So we're going to go back and we're going to choose one of the games. Okay, I need to relog. I'm going to be going on live on Twitch, and we're going to be starting games soon.